My name is Isabella Rocha, and I was 33 years old when I discovered that my own family had already erased me from their lives while I was still alive. The first thing I remember after waking up wasn't pain. It was silence. A kind of silence that didn't belong in a hospital. No voices, no flowers, no family waiting beside my bed. Only the steady sound of a heart monitor and sunlight creeping through half-closed blinds. I tried to lift my right hand, but it barely moved. A nurse noticed my eyes were open and rushed toward me. "You've been asleep for almost 4 months," she said with a gentle smile. "Welcome back." 4 months. The words echoed inside my head. The last thing I remembered was driving home through heavy rain after finishing another exhausting day at my accounting firm in Sao Paulo. Then, nothing. Over the next few days, pieces of my memory slowly returned while my body struggled to catch up. Every small movement felt like climbing a mountain. The doctors called it a miracle that I had survived. But the real shock came when I finally asked the question that had been growing inside me. "Where's my family?" The nurse hesitated, just for a second. Then she forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "They haven't been here recently." "Recently?" I frowned. "My father? My brother? Anyone?" She quietly looked toward the door before saying, "I'll be right back." She never answered. Instead, another nurse entered the room carrying a small cardboard box with my name written across the top. "We found this among your personal belongings," she explained. Inside were my glasses, a broken wristwatch, my apartment keys, and a sealed white envelope. Across the front, someone had written my name in familiar handwriting. I recognized it immediately. It belonged to my older brother, Raphael. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was only a single sheet of paper. No greeting, no explanation. Just one sentence. "To us, you are already dead. Don't come looking for us." I stared at those words until they became blurry through my tears. It didn't make sense. Before my accident, I had spent years helping my family. After my mother passed away, I paid my father's medical bills when his business failed. I helped Raphael save his restaurant twice. I postponed vacations, worked overtime, and emptied my savings more times than I could count because I believed family always came first. So why would they write something like this? Had I done something wrong? Or had something happened while I was unconscious? Less than an hour later, there was a knock on my hospital door. A man in a dark gray suit stepped inside carrying a leather briefcase. "I'm sorry to meet you under these circumstances," he said. "My name is Dr. Marcelo Azevedo. I've been trying to find you for months." Confused, I asked, "Who are you?" He placed a thick folder on the table beside my bed. "I'm the attorney your late mother hired 6 years ago." My heart skipped a beat. "My mother?" He nodded. "She asked me to protect something until the day you could hear the truth." He slowly opened the folder and looked directly into my eyes. "What I'm about to tell you will explain why your family wanted the world to believe you were already dead." I couldn't take my eyes off the folder. For years, I had believed my mother left behind nothing except memories and an old family photo album. Yet now, a stranger was telling me she had planned for this moment long before she died. Dr. Marcello carefully removed a sealed document. 6 years ago, he began, your mother came to my office after learning her illness had become terminal. She wasn't worried about herself. She was worried about you. My throat tightened. She told me she had noticed a pattern. Every time your father or your brother needed money, you were the one who sacrificed everything. She feared that one day they would take more than you could afford to lose. I could hardly breathe. She left you something, he continued, sliding the papers toward me. But she instructed me not to reveal it unless you personally appeared before me. I looked down at the documents. At the top was the name of a company I had never heard before. Aurora Holdings Ltda. What is this? I whispered. Dr. Marcello gave me a small smile. It's a company your mother legally transferred into your name before she passed away. I frowned. I don't understand. The company owns several commercial buildings in Sao Paulo and Campinas. The rental income has been accumulating for years because you never knew it existed. My heart pounded. There must be some mistake. There isn't. For the first time since I woke up, I wasn't thinking about what I had lost. I was thinking about the truth. Dr. Marcello arranged a meeting for the following week after my doctors approved a temporary discharge from the rehabilitation center. I was still walking with a cane, and every step reminded me that recovery wasn't over. But emotionally, I had never felt more awake. When I entered his office in downtown Sao Paulo, several files were already waiting on the conference table. They've moved faster than we expected, he said. He handed me copies of court filings. My father had already submitted paperwork claiming he was my permanent legal guardian. Raphael had signed as a witness, stating that I would never be capable of managing my own affairs again. I felt my stomach twist. They gave up on me before the doctors did. Marcello nodded quietly. But they made one mistake. He pushed another document toward me. The hospital officially declared you mentally competent yesterday. That single report changed everything. Within days, our legal team filed a request to cancel the guardianship proceedings and demanded a complete investigation into every financial action taken while I was unconscious. The court approved the hearing. Word spread through the family almost immediately. My phone, silent for months, suddenly came alive. My father called 12 times. Raphael sent message after message. Please answer. We can explain. This is all a misunderstanding. I didn't reply. Not because I hated them, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't rushing to rescue the people who had abandoned me. 2 days before the hearing, Raphael appeared outside my apartment carrying flowers. The same brother who had written the letter now stood in front of me with tears in his eyes. Isa, Dad made us believe you were never coming back. I looked at the bouquet for a long moment before speaking. If you truly believed I was gone, I said quietly, why were you already dividing everything I owned? He had no answer. He lowered his head. As he walked away, I realized something I had never understood before. Some people don't miss you. They only miss what you were willing to give them. The courtroom in Sao Paulo was almost silent when my case was called. Across the room, My father and Raphael avoided looking at me. Just a few months earlier, they had been certain I would never wake up. Now, I was standing before them, alive, speaking for myself. Judge Elena Costa reviewed every document carefully. First came the hospital's medical report, confirming I had fully recovered the mental capacity to make my own decisions. Then came the financial records. Every withdrawal, every transfer, every signature made while I lay unconscious. When the judge finished reading, she looked directly at my father. "You were given temporary authority to protect your daughter," she said, "not to benefit from her absence." The room fell completely quiet. After a brief recess, the court ruled in my favor.
The guardianship was immediately revoked. Every asset that still belonged to me was returned. My father and Raphael were ordered to repay the money they had taken, along with legal costs. As we walked out of the courthouse, my father finally stopped me. His voice was softer than I had ever heard it. "Isabella, I'm sorry." For years, I had imagined hearing those words. I thought they would heal everything. Instead, they simply sounded late. I looked at him for a long moment before answering. "I forgive you." His eyes filled with hope. But forgiveness doesn't mean life goes back to the way it was. Neither of us spoke again. A few weeks later, I visited the small beach house my mother had left me near Santos. I opened every window and let the ocean breeze fill the empty rooms. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel lonely. It felt peaceful. I decided not to sell the house. Instead, I turned it into the fresh start I had never allowed myself to have. Sometimes people ask if I regret choosing my own happiness over keeping my family together. The answer is always the same. You cannot save a family that only loves you when you're sacrificing yourself. Real love never asks you to disappear so someone else can survive. My family declared me dead while I was still alive. But in the end, they didn't destroy my life. They unknowingly gave me the chance to build one that finally belonged to me. And that was the greatest gift hidden inside the letter they thought would break me.